Welcome once again to How to Relate to Anyone. Here is Dr. Orv Owens.
Well, hello again, and we welcome to a part of this presentation. I'm talking about the total 7 or 8 programs that is the most negative. So hang on to your hat. We'll get to the positive in the next few weeks, but today we're going to look at psychotic behavior. It's a scary thing because if a person is at psychotic level, we consider them institutionalized or need institutionalization. That's too long of a word for me. But what we're going to look at is all of us can drop down to psychotic behavior and below that, and we're going to talk about that today also, just for a moment, and then we're back up again. So it's not that we're crazy, but we're making a crazy decision. Does that make sense? Go ahead, shake your head out there in television land if that makes sense. So keep your mind open. You're going to want to go through this lower stuff again, maybe 3 times, and I've mentioned this before, but it's important if you're going to really get a hold of it. Because in sales or in management or in any relationship, you better know where that person you're relating to is at the moment. Because if they're where we're going today, their mind is so tightly closed, they're not going to hear a word you say. They're going to take everything you say as negative. If you ever had somebody say, no matter what you say, you look lovely today. Oh, are you being critical? They're down here. Get defensive immediately. And so when people are being defensive, this is where they are. And this is the bottom of where they are. So this is as bad as it gets. A person who lives here is institutionalized because we consider them to have lost control of their thought process, mental illness, living there. But that's somebody who's there all the time as opposed to somebody who drops down there. So as we go through this, don't get scared because, whoops, I did that last week or maybe even yesterday. We all do. And we don't want to, but we do. And we tend to justify it because of the cause that put us down there. Something somebody said or did or didn't do. There's a lot of didn't do's out there that are very negative, and they drop clear down to here. You said you would and you didn't. How I can't even trust you anymore. That's clear down what we're talking about. So we looked at neurotic behavior. This is a little review of past 2 lessons. Neurotic behavior is when the person is analyzing, censoring, and condemning, looking for something wrong. Neurotic behavior is when we go across that line down to getting defensive, I'm a little scared here that this relationship is going bad. This is not good. That's down to distrust and apprehension and covetousness, which is, what do I get out of this? It's called paranoia. And a lot of people in our world live here. Not constantly, but drop down there rapidly. Guy in my office got a raise in pay. When do I get a little recognition? I work as hard as he does. Who's he that's better than me? That's all paranoia. And we get there without thinking about it because we're just working on emotions, an emotional response, putting us down below the line. And I'll tell you what, every time you go below this line, your body chemistry becomes negative. If you get negative enough, you can literally have a heart attack or a stroke. Doctors will say your immune system is out of whack, your resistance is down, you're susceptible to whatever's going around. In this day and age, with so much stuff going around, and masks and all those things that we're doing these days, when this is being videoed, a lot of fear out there. A lot of fear, a lot of people living down where we're talking. So we want to look at today the area we call psychotic behavior. Psychotic behavior moves from being defensive into being aggressive. On this level of psychotic behavior, this is where murders take place. This is where rapes take place. This is where robberies take place. I'm out to get what is mine because nobody's given me anything, so I have to get. But when you're in a getting mood or getting mindset, we tend to do things that are illegal, things that are hurtful to other people, and we don't even consider that. All we consider is, I got to get before I get got. I have a right to more than this. Rights are really exercised at the psychotic level. I mean, after I've done for you and everything I've given you, and then you do this to me, psychotic. I just heard somebody out there groan across the camera here. Not in this room, but on the screen, because you said that. How do I know? Because you're a human being, and we all drop to that level on occasions when something doesn't go the way we want it to go. So we want to look at 3 words that describe that movement downward to a point where we're moving to psychological withdrawal. So the first step down in psychotic behavior is covetousness. It's grabbing for all the gusto you can get because you only go around once. I don't want to say that commercial is psychotic, but that's the attitude of a person who is suffering from this kind of depression, this kind of mental activity. I don't want to say mental illness. I want to say mental activity, because we drop down there simply because somebody has been taking advantage of us and we're going to get defensive. And when I get defensive, I'm going to start grabbing for what's mine. I have a right to more than this. Anytime you say I have a right for more than this is the level you are at that moment. And it's not positive, and it normally is destructive, and it takes away from relationships, it takes away from other people, their sense of well-being, especially if you're in some type of a relationship where that grabbiness, that covetousness, that what's mine will offend. Marriages have been broken up as a result of this. Children have left home early because of this. And people quit jobs because of this. People also get fired because of this. And for sure, in a sales situation, if the prospect drops to this level, you no longer have an open mind to work with. They can't hear a word you say because they are so defensive, got those psychological blocks up, and they're so defensive they can't hear a word you're saying. No matter what you say, I want to give you something. Yeah, I know. You're just trying to coerce me into doing something you want me to do by giving me a donut so that you're going to sell me a steak. I don't know if that's a good illustration or not, but that works for the moment. Give a little to get a lot. That's what people believe when they're at the psychotic level, especially at covetousness. So I'm grabbing for all the gusto I can get. I'm getting mine. I'm getting first in line. I want the biggest piece of pie. I want more recognition. I want more acceptance. I want more appreciation. Nobody appreciates me around here. That's all covetousness. It's all me, 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 me. Pretty ugly when you think about it, but I have to challenge you. You go there, maybe this week, maybe yesterday, maybe today. I don't know what time you're watching this video, but you might have said something like that to somebody today. Well, that covetousness leads to, once again, it's dropping down to a greater intensity as we go down this diagram. As we go down into the basement down here, it gets a little more intense in negativity. So covetousness leads into despising. I despise, I hate, I don't like anybody who's taking what is rightfully mine. I have a right to more than this. You've heard that one, and you might have said it yourself. That's where you are. Hate to tell you that. I'm not telling you that you're nuts. I'm just simply saying that we drop down to this level when we get defensive and get grabby. And I don't like anybody who takes what is rightfully mine. Somebody took my parking place. What a way to start the day. When you get upset about somebody taking your parking place. Ruthie Snyder, a friend of mine, used to say, I always believe for a parking place in front of the door. And amazingly, she often had that happen. She'd go to the store and her parking place right in front, looks like reserved for Ruthie. She's a woman of faith, and she just believed for that. And amazingly, it happened a great deal. I've ridden with her when it happened. I'm just going to believe for a parking place in front of the door. There it was. Somebody just pulled out. We pulled in. Convinced me. Her faith is stronger than mine. Well, when you're despising people, what you're doing is literally emotionally destroying them. Putting them down so low, so far below you that it's an ugly thing. And it's at this point where you can just feel the ugliness. You can feel the anger. You can feel that grabbiness. When people are down here, we don't like to be around them. I've seen people drop down like this and have about 3 or 4 people in the room leave the room because the whole atmosphere was affected by one person who's so far down that they're being that ugly emotionally. I could tell you don't go there, but that's not going to happen. You'll go there once in a while, but what I want you to know is to know when you get there and how to get back out of there. That's what this lesson is really all about. When you recognize you are there, you can do something about it by simply changing your attitude and say, wait a minute, let's go above the line. When other people are below that line, the first thing you have to do is say, what can I do to help you get over what you're feeling right now? Questions. Remember, questions open people's minds. Statements will close minds. You can't go on making a presentation if somebody is this far down below the line, because they're not going to hear a word you say, and for sure they're not going to buy what you're saying, whether you're a manager, salesperson, or a friend. It's interesting in husband-wife fights. She says something, he says something, and they're not hearing each other at all. And if that goes on long enough, they end up in divorce or separation at best. You cannot allow yourself to go this far down below the line often or consistently, because you need to understand you're just being destructive of your own environment, your own body chemistry, your own opportunities, your own relationships. Everything falls apart when you get down to this level. It's a scary place to be, and costly. Divorces are very expensive. I've done a lot of counseling and trying to save a marriage, because divorce is just goes on and expenses and heartache and bad feelings. So why do we go down there? It's an emotional swing based upon a defensive posture. I'm trying to defend myself. Now the next step down, and this is pretty drastic, is terror. Terror is such an intense emotion that it can literally cause a heart attack. You've heard of people that were scared to death? Happens all the time. Die from a heart attack, stroke, or whatever, caused by this intense negative surge of body chemistry negatively. You can literally be wiped out physically. But for sure, anytime you go this low, down to terror, right down here at the bottom of the pile, you are where death takes place, not only physical death, but if not physical death, death of relationships. More marriages, more lost jobs, more breakdown in relationships happens when people drop down to this level. You do not want to be around a person like this. You do not want to be married to somebody like this. You don't want somebody like this working for you. And you sure don't want to work for somebody who's down here pretty regularly. Hope I'm making this strong enough so that you say, I'll never go down there. Because you know who has control of this? You do. It's in your hands. You choose to live wherever you choose to live. When I find myself going down below the line, any of these steps that we've been taking, I check myself and I just shut up and pause to take thought, take a little time to justify my thinking. And normally I can't, so because I can't justify my thinking, I move up and choose to live above the line. It's a choice we make. When you lose your temper, you don't really lose your temper, you choose to have a temper tantrum. It's not such thing as losing your temper, it's finding your temper basically by dropping down to this level. Because when you drop down to covetousness, despising, terror, you are angry at the world, you're angry at yourself, nothing is right, everything's going in the toilet. It's a terrible place to be. So, what do? Well, once again, if you're a salesperson or a manager and you find employees or clients at this level, you have to stop making a presentation and start asking questions. If I could show you a way, if you could know for certain, you being the sole judge, that this product or this project that we're going to do is something you can handle, something you are going to get excited about, would that be something you'd be interested in taking a strong look at? You can't just start piling on sugar-coated donuts. You have to take people from where they are and move them up so that they can accept the sugar-coated donut. That would be kind words or creative words or positive words. They cannot accept positive words when they're down here. You have to get them above the line, and you do that with questions. You need to practice this because it doesn't just happen. But when somebody makes a strong statement, I hate that, I don't even want to have anything to do with it. Stop making a presentation, ask questions that move people up to an open mind. Move them up, back up above the line. And that's what we're going to look at when in a couple of lessons, we're going to start looking at above the line and what positive things are there when you get people there. What we want to show you here is when people are negative and down here with the defense mechanism, psychological blocks, you can't sell, you can't convince, you can't relate to. So, hang on. Next lesson, we're going to go one step lower, and then we're going to do a review of this whole thing before we move up into the positives and get you all positive and ready to conquer the world.